Three visionaries, Dr. Nneka Chukwu, Dr. Margaret Obilo, and Dr. Angela Ikeme, authors and pacesetters, came together and wrote a powerful and long-anticipated book, Voices of Triumph, Stories of African Women Immigrants in America. This book highlights African cultural heritage, the delicate balancing act of work-life expectations, especially for women navigating corporate America while upholding strong cultural roots.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for yet another beautiful episode of Voices of Triumph on the Road. This inspiring program is a spin off of our book, Voices of Triumph, Stories of African Women Immigrants in America, and is dedicated to showcasing extraordinary immigrant African women who have defied the odds to achieve greatness. Too often, our stories are overlooked or told through the lens of those who haven't walked our path. But here, we reclaim our own narratives in our voices and our terms. Today, we have the distinct pleasure of spotlighting Deka. I call her Adezani, a fearless, classy, and elegant CEO. She is a true trailblazer and visionary leader, widely recognized for her innovative contributions to the healthcare business space. I'm Dr. Nneka Chukwu, and I'm joined by my phenomenal sisters.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Ngozi Obilo. Nice to be here again today.
And I am Dr. Angela Ikeme. So pleased to be here today with this phenomenal sister, Deka. Thank you.
All right, so we're excited to get going on this conversation.
All right, Deka. Nice to see
Hello.
you. So,
Hi.
we want to start by congratulating you, right? You received an award recently, right? And it's the 2025 Entrepreneur of the Year.
Woo!
Woo! Amazing, lady. So your company reported 1,600% team growth and 900% client growth.
9,000.
9,000. Oh my goodness.
Excuse me.
Oh
we need to get
my.
that right.
Yes,
Wow.
yes, we do need to get it right. 9,000% client growth. Do you want to talk a little bit about that award?
Absolutely. It was the first. Hello. It's so great to be here. Thank you for having me. Um, and yes, that is still unreal.
Yeah.
It's still I'm still living and walking in gratitude because it wasn't their award was not just for me, it was for my team, my family, my friends, my supporters, and I'm just grateful. I am grateful. It was a lot of work,
Yeah, I can imagine.
and there were a lot of amazing companies that were finalists and winners, and looking at all the amazing things that people are doing in the Bay Area, especially in the Bay Area where you have the most successful companies in the world, is truly an honor to actually win the EY Entrepreneur of the Year.
Well, congratulations.
Congratulations, Deka.
Thank you.
My next question was going to be, how do you feel about this extraordinary accomplishment? But I'm still going to say it because I know that not just being entrepreneur of the year, you are doing a lot of things in healthcare space. How do you put all this together, the accomplishment and all the good work you are doing in healthcare industry?
Oh, thank you, thank you. That's very humbling for you to say that. I, for me, it's about making a difference, creating an impact, and leading with heart. Because everybody, I think that everybody in life should know what their why is. And this is my why. I left a 15-year financial service career to do this 2 years ago, and I have not looked back. It is the reason why I am here, and I intend to continue to scale our impact as we grow. And I know a lot of people look at everything that we've done or I have done and say, oh my gosh, you're doing such an amazing job and you've accomplished all of these things in such a short time. But for me, when I look at all those things, I feel like we're not even started. Like there's so much work to do, especially in this space as a woman of color, as an immigrant. There's so much work we got to do.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Basically, we haven't scratched the surface, is what she's
At
saying.
all. We have not. We have not. It looks impressive on paper, but there is so much more we can do. There's so much more that I need to do.
Wow.
That's great. So people often see the results, but not the journey. Like you started describing just now. Can you share your background and your journey?
So I am an immigrant from Nigeria.
Okay.
I came here about 18 years ago. I came through what we call the visa lottery.
Oh.
The United States provides this diversity visa opportunity to immigrants in to people in third world countries, and you apply, you win, you come here, you get a green card, and that's how I came. I came here in 2007 with $30 in my pocket. Hardly knew anyone, and I started from scratch, and I started working at the bank as a part-time teller. I was there for about 15 years. By the time I left, I was a VP in our mortgage department, and that's how I started.
Wow.
But in 2011, my dad got sick, and my mom became his primary caregiver. And I experienced firsthand what families go through when a loved one gets sick. My dad did not make it, but that experience showed me how broken the system is and how much more we should be doing for our aging population. So when I went back to school to get my MBA, Cal State East Bay, in 2018, I decided I was going to create a business for seniors and for families that are going through what I went through. My business was actually my capstone in school. And I graduated in 2020, and the business was founded in 2021. So, and that's how we started.
Wow, that's amazing.
That is amazing. Listening to you, somebody will say, okay, you are a VP in a bank in a mortgage industry. We all know, living in this Bay Area, what a mortgage department is, and the vice president of that in that area. And yet, you still have to live it. A lot of us will become complacent and say, okay, this is it. No more job application, no more, this is it. But you made that decision. I also heard you say that your business is a capstone of
My MBA program.
your MBA program. A lot of us have gone to school and we worked on several capstones from bachelor's to master's and all that. But how did you choose and bring your capstone
To life.
to life? Yes.
So first, I'm going to address the question about living a stable income to do this.
Yes.
It was not easy. And in my head, I thought, oh, okay, it's going to be rough for 2 months. I can manage it. It lasted more than 2 months. But I have never regretted it. I don't regret it. It was hard. It was very hard. It was difficult. 2024 was one of the most difficult years I've had in my life. I never for once ever thought, oh my gosh, why did I leave my stable job, or why am I doing this? I never regretted it. So that's why it's really important to do something that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
You have to find your why and stick to it, right?
Absolutely.
Regardless. So for us, for the capstone, for me, I believe that, and this is my belief, you know, I'm not, this is not a shade to anybody, but when I do something, I want to get something out of it. So doing a capstone, having all that resources, having that time, having people help you gather around, and also an opportunity to actually build something, I didn't want to waste it. And in the middle of my MBA program, I saw an opportunity for me to actually create something, meaning part of my MBA program was an immersion trip to China. And when we went there, we saw a huge gap in the aging population between because of the one-child policy that lasted over 30 years in China. There was this huge problem in that society when it comes to taking care of their elderly loved ones. And that got me thinking, and I wanted to actually do business in China before all of this. So a story for another day. But that was my initial idea, to actually do business in China, then, but not move there, but actually take care of the parents and grandparents and have my clients be the first generation Chinese Americans here. But then COVID hit. And I started doing research into the U.S. aging market, and it's actually bigger, but it's not talked about enough. This space is not a space that will be considered sexy.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't talk about it. However, 10,000 baby boomers retire every day. People are living longer. Seniors need help. Social isolation is real. So it's a problem that is not going away, and we want to be at the forefront of solving that problem.
That is amazing. Thank you for your responses, Dick. And going back to what Dr. Angela started out saying, I've had people come to me for mentorship when they go back to grad school, or they tell me, we want to go back to grad school. Can you mentor me? My first question is, what do you want to get out of it? Why do you want to do it? Because it all comes back to your why, right? And so if we're going into a process or a program, we're not just going to check off a box. It has to be something that adds value, not just to us personally, but also to the society. And I'm so impressed by what you've done. And I also had the pleasure of, watching you in action, giving back to the students, going back to your alumni, as an alumni of the school, to give back to the students. It was such a blessing and heartwarming experience for me to watch you be part of that team that says, hey, your capstone project is amazing. I will invest in you. I will help take you to that next level. So I really admire what you are doing, not just for you, but for others who are coming after you. So phenomenal work.
I gotta say something, and that may be disappointing to you, but when I went back to get my MBA, it was the only reason I wanted to get an MBA. True story. Was because I wanted to experience the American school system. It wasn't because I wanted to set up a business. It wasn't because I wanted to make more money. It wasn't any of that. And that is the honest truth.
Wow.
However, once I got in, completely changed my life. So I say all that to say, because it's really important for us to all be very honest and real about things. But going in and seeing what that looked like, because I got my undergraduate degree from Nigeria. I had 2 degrees from Nigeria, but I just wanted to see what it felt like to go to school in the U.S. And that's why I applied. To your point, even though you could start one way, it's how you end that actually matters. Which is what happened with me while I was going through it. I had a lot of amazing lecturers, mentors, support. As I was going through that program, I met a lot of amazing people, and again, that program changed my life.
Wow.
That's amazing. I mean, because you bring up the point about some of the lessons, right? Which kind of leads into the next one is what are some of the important lessons you've learned? So, like you said, one of them was going to school, even though you didn't think about it, but what you learned there really helped you in your business as you've gone along. What other things have you learned over the years?
So over the years, the first thing I would say is growth comes with some grief. You're gonna lose people, you're gonna lose parts of yourself, and it is okay. Where you start, the people that started with you may not, from point A, may not be the best people to take you to point B and C and D. And you have to be able to recognize that and be okay with letting go. So that was the first thing for me. The second lesson is you should not do it alone. I did ask for, a lot of help while I was building this company because I don't have healthcare experience. So I needed the guidance and help of a lot of people in my circle. However, I had said that 2024 was a very difficult year for me. It was difficult in the sense that there were a lot of challenges that comes with growing as fast as we did. And there was challenges with cash flow. There were challenges with team members. There were a lot of challenges. And I felt like I needed to carry all of that alone. I felt like I couldn't really tell anybody that because I'm the CEO, the buck stops with me. So I had to figure it out myself. It is not okay to do that. There were nights, like I think that I actually, throughout 2024, every pay period, I was wondering, how am I going to pay all these people? All these, my wonderful team, they're all depending on me. How am I going to pay them? We survived it, but it was a difficult time for us. But I know most people didn't know what I was going through. So what I would say is, a lesson that I learned is, you got to find that person that you can talk to and that can actually advise you, and you have to make use of your support. And for me, I had that. I just did not disclose to my support system. And the third lesson is, vision. You have to have a strong vision. But vision is great, but execution is everything. If you don't execute, there are a lot of people that have ideas and vision, but sometimes they give up when it's almost time for their breakthrough. So one step, one more step, one more step, one more step, and you'll get there. And I had to learn that.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Amazing. I keep going back to Dr. Wachira's
Yes.
quote. Resilience is a muscle.
Yes.
you have to
keep,
build it.
you gotta keep
Yeah.
exercising and building. Absolutely.
And that's I'm so sorry, but I can't let this moment pass us by without really delving into it. The concept of not giving up.
Yeah.
There are so many people out there and who have tried different things and they fall by the wayside. It's very easy. The easy thing to do is to fold up as, I've had it, that's enough, and I have to go. And so creating this space for amazing people like yourself who have succeeded to come and say, it wasn't easy. Yes, you see all of this, but there were sleepless nights. There were moments I had to do my crying in the rain, and that's okay. is really part of what this is about because people need to hear it so they don't give up, right? I'm going to try one more time. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Listening to you, especially when you talk about your 2024, a lot of us who own a business know that if you don't have enough cash flow, it keeps you up at night. How do you pay your mortgage? How do you pay your employees? How do you pay this? Now, listening to you, and for every person out there, especially we women,
Yes.
we have a lot of vision. A lot of women has vision, but the financial part of it is one of our biggest challenges that hold us back. How did you overcome it? Because yes, it was challenging. You stayed up, you cried, and all that. But somehow, that money does not come from heaven. Yeah. So what do
No,
you
it
tell those women out there who have vision and the strength to carry on, but that financial resource is a stumbling block to them?
So I would say
Yeah.
this, and I've had people, a lot of people come to me for mentorship, and I've had several categories of people. We have people that have an idea and their next step is to quit their jobs and go after their ideas. We have had people who have jobs and want to pursue their vision simultaneously. And for me, I knew what the stacks were against me, meaning I was not delusional. I know that for women of color, access to capital is challenging.
Yes.
And I could have either gone around, beg people to fund my dream, or work and fund that dream, which was why I worked for 2 years while building my company. I had to make the money and I was putting into my company. But it got to a point where we needed to scale and it was not an option to do both anymore. So I decided to put on my fit hat, believe in the vision that God gave me, and just do it. And believe that it was going to work out. On the other side of things, I knew that for me to get money or to get funding for my business, I could not take the traditional route. The traditional route meaning going to investors to invest in your business. And I'm not saying that people don't get funded, they do, but sometimes at that time, actually, a lot of businesses that were getting funded were tech businesses. We're a tech-enabled service company, and a lot of what I heard then was service companies don't scale. And I kept trying to convince people that it did. Especially in the senior care industry, the senior care industry is not an industry. This aging problem is not a problem that we can solve through technology alone. There has to be a combination of the human interaction and technology for it to be solved. And for me, in my mind, I wanted to show what was possible. So I took the non-traditional routes, like trying to get contracts with, the state and manage care plans and also going for grants. And that's how I was able to scale as fast as we did because I wasn't looking at the playbook that worked for everybody else. I needed to
Create your own.
build mine. What worked for me, what worked for my situation, my family situation, my financial situation. So what I would say to everybody that is trying to do this is you got to look at your situation and you got to build a playbook that works for you. At that point, when I was starting, I had a lot of people tell me, if you wanna fundraise, you gotta quit your job and do this 100%. Even if you don't have money, you gotta just, you just gotta deal with it because nobody's gonna look at you unless you're doing this 100%. But the reality is, the 100% they're talking about, even though I was doing both my full-time job and building the company, my 30 or 50% was other people's 300%. Because I was working really hard to make sure that company grew, regardless of me having a full-time job. And of course, I was still doing as much, and even I was performing at the level that I had performed at the bank for 15 years. I had to do both. And that's why at some point I couldn't do it because I'm human,
Yes.
and I couldn't do both at over 100% every time.
From a distant land, a voice is echoing.